What's up, everybody? Welcome to PS I Love You XOXO, episode 43. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the new face of video games, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Greg, I really like the bomber jacket you're rocking.
Thank you very much. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, this show couldn't get any bigger in terms of all the PlayStation 5 things we have to talk about. But on top of that, and all the embargoes breaking and lifting today, you need to tell you out of embargo is a fact that the PlayStation jacket, the PS I Love You XOXO, kind of funny bomber jacket, is finally going up. It's going up right now on kindoffunny.com/store. Got the red inside. It's got.
If you're an audio listener, I highly encourage you check out the video just for a second to see this jacket that Greg's wearing because I really want one. For some reason don't have one.
Well, you'll get one. I mean, you'll get one when Tim decides you get something. But you can go, of course, to kindoffunny.com/store to pick this jacket up at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Worth pointing that out because we're actually going live an hour earlier than normal on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames podcast services around the globe with this episode of PS I Love You XOXO because of PlayStation 5 embargo. So if you are between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. Pacific time, you have to wait till 8 a.m. to go get this jacket and the new urban hiking shirt that's now up on kindoffunny.com/store.
What is that? An urban hiking shirt?
Yeah, if you didn't know, I put urban hiking on the map. Getting out there, hiking it up. Me and Nick had a rivalry until I crushed him in it. And then, as Kind of Funny often does, that was a great joke 7 months ago. And we just made it into a shirt now.
Into a shirt before the winter time during a pandemic, an urban hiking shirt. We're putting it out.
That's right. Blessing. Yeah.
Is it too late to not?
I mean, what do we got to lose? We sell 20. Hey, that's 20 more shirts than we sold before.
I think that there's a cost of manufacturing that we're not.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You say pandemic. That's when hiking really took off. That's when people were really
urban hiking. Certainly, urban hiking. Yeah. Does Sean Finnegan like urban hiking?
No, we don't. That's the least successful shirt we've ever made. Well, actually, I forget.
That's right.
Your bachelor party shirt, did eventually that take over the Sean Finnegan likes hiking shirt that was super unpopular back then?
I don't know. And just to be clear, I advocated against my bachelor party shirt.
Nobody was blaming you. Nobody was blaming you for it. Here's the thing.
We put out Kevin's bachelor party shirt against his wishes.
Not against his wishes, but more like he wanted to monetize his bachelor party.
It was against my
who
wishes.
is to say whose wishes were? That was a long time ago. A lot of memories are fuzzy. A lot of things happened at that bachelor party. People don't remember who said what about what shirt should be made, when it should be made. That's just how it is, Blessing. You understand?
I get it. I want to commend you. I see the did you add more like ghostly effects behind you for the
same ghostly? I got the ghost dancing as I always do over there, and then I got the light over here that's
I'm for the first time noticing that light. I really like it. I love to see that you're embracing Halloween as a holiday. Of course, this is the last week of October/Donktober. So I'd be amiss to not mention Happy Halloween week, everybody. Halloween week, it's happening.
Happy Halloween week to you too, Blessing. You know what I mean? I'm really happy to see you embracing Halloween and really make it a thing this year.
Halloween has been a thing I've loved for a very long time, and I'm happy to bring the Halloween.
How many weeks would you say you've loved? How many weeks would you say you've loved
too many. Too many.
Yeah, too many weeks.
In fact, for the last few weeks we've been wearing suits. We've been wearing you've been wearing your two-toned Halloween suit. I've been wearing mine. That has a lot more tone to it. I should say. I've been really enjoying the back and forth we've been having for Halloween. Really enjoy the holiday. I'm glad that this is the last PS Love You before the actual Halloween holiday.
Sure.
Which reminds me, I need to give me 1 second. I need to go get some.
Oh, motherfucker. I saw him. I saw him on Twitter this week and put up that he went shopping and he had a Spirit Halloween bag. And I really thought we'd be able to dodge it. I really thought with all the PlayStation 5 stuff we have to talk about today, all the embargoes that I've lifted today for this episode, that we would be able to just jump right into it. But instead...
You guys are making people wait 5 minutes before you get into the PS5.
I'm not, Kevin.
Also,
if you're mad, ladies and gentlemen, remember there are 2 unboxings up right now. There's a whole thing about the first trophies. There's an Astro Room.
Watch that and have this Playroom on in the background.
First impressions up as well.
Up, everybody.
Not much. Put on a Fallout costume.
Yeah, it's my Halloween costume. Dressing up as a vault dweller.
Yeah, sure. From the popular series Fallout.
Now, do they all have wristlets like that, or is it just
they do? Yes,
the vault dwellers.
Everybody from the vault. Yeah. That's
great. I should have some Halloween spirit. Embrace it.
Wow.
Dressing up for Halloween. Last PS Love You before Halloween, so I had to dress up.
Yeah, I thought about it too, but then I remembered that, of course, there's a giant election happening, and so I'm going to wear my Biden stuff every day this week. You could have just said
you were dressed up as Tim. Take your glasses off.
Me?
Yeah.
Does Tim wear a lot of Biden shirts?
I mean, like, we could just push that narrative right now. He certainly supports Biden.
Peace, I love you, shoot over there. Blessing, as I was telling Kevin as you left, first off, there's no time to waste. There's too many gosh darn PlayStation 5 embargoes up. All right, so we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be bickering over Halloween.
We should not. Alone
the fact that the very fact that you are wearing a Fallout Halloween costume throws right. This is like when I was talking about wearing my Ghostbusters outfit, and you're like, what does that have to do with Halloween? It's the exact same thing. You know what I
mean? Halloween, you can wear any costume for Halloween. It is not. It is.
So then why did when I was bringing up Ghostbuster stuff the other week, why did that not help?
Because you weren't wearing it for Halloween. You're just wearing it as a bit.
Why are we still doing this?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is PS I Love You XOXO. We are your PlayStation podcast. Each and every Tuesday, we come together to talk about all things nerdy in the PlayStation ecosystem. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunnygames, where you can be part of the show. You, of course, can ask us questions. You can have us delve into your PSN profile. You can just say whatever you want to be part of the show. Usually, you can watch it live as we record it. However, today, because of the PlayStation 5 embargo, we are not able to actually have a live audience, but we usually do, and we will again. And then I think after that we might not again, but it's all about reviews and stuff. It's that time of year. Remember, of course, on PS I Love You XOXO, you come first. And if you're on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, you can watch the show early. You can get it ad-free. You can get it with the exclusive post show we do each and every episode. However, if you have no bucks tossed our way, it's no big deal. You can watch over on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, and of course roosterteeth.com. Of course, you can also listen on podcast services around the globe, no matter where you get the show or how you get the show. Thank you for enjoying PS I Love You XOXO. Housekeeping for you, like I said, if you've just downloaded this blind, you put it on your old Spotify, you're driving around in your car, listening to stuff, you're watching something on YouTube, youtube.com/kindafunnygames is somewhere you need to go. There are 5 PS5 videos up today as of this posting, all at 5 a.m. What you are getting, of course, is an unboxing of the PlayStation 5 from me, Greg Miller. You're getting an unboxing of the PlayStation 5 from Blessing, Adeoye Jr. You're getting the Astro's Playroom First Impressions, which is Blessing playing through the Cooling Springs level of Astro's Playroom, me commentating along with him. His first time ever playing that. I think first thing you ever played on the PlayStation 5, right?
Yeah, my first time playing a game on the PS5, correct.
Right. So that's up there right now. You can also catch a short video up there called Greg Miller's first PlayStation 5 trophy. I got my first PlayStation 5 trophy and wanted to commemorate it on, of course, youtube.com/kindafunnygames. However, it actually revealed some really cool new nifty perks about PlayStation's trophies system that I'm pretty stoked about. Yeah, exactly. First Impressions you can catch as a podcast feed on Kinda Funny First Impressions. You can search wherever you want to. The others are all videos, like I said, youtube.com/kindafunnygames. However, to make it even easier for you, we're putting all of our PlayStation 5 hands-on launch coverage into a playlist over on youtube.com/kindafunnygames that you can easily get to by putting in kindafunny.com/PS5. Put that in. You can go there. We'll be updating it with all the different impressions, thoughts, opinions, reviews that we can do leading up to the launch of the PlayStation 5. Like I said, the PS I Love You jacket is now live. Kindafunny.com/store. Like I said earlier, supporting us on patreon.com/kindafunnygames gives you a bunch of different perks, including getting your name read as a Patreon producer, just like James Davis at James Davis Makes, 248-835-3699, Jeffrey P Long, Julian, the gluten-free gamer, Sencho West Gaming, James Hastings, and Tom Bach. Today, we're brought to you by Every Plate. But for now, let's start with topic of the show. Tots. Blessing,
Greg.
It is the beginning of the new generation. You and I each have the PlayStation 5. We had them delivered on Friday. All we were allowed was to show. Oh, Kevin, put it up too. Great point out. We have the PlayStation 5s. Remember, of course, the PS5s are provided by PlayStation for review if you're the FTC and worried about us trying to I guess lie to people, say we stole them or something. All we could show on Friday was, of course, the outside of the box. Today is one of the first embargoes for the PlayStation 5, which includes unboxing the PlayStation 5, being able to talk about our impressions of the hardware from just design aesthetic perspective, what it's like holding, what it's like having everything turned off, and then, of course, Cooling Springs in Astro's Playroom. I keep wanting to call it Astro Bot after saying rescue mission for so long.
I keep doing that too. Because
Sorry, go ahead. No, please.
Well, I was going to say, because like I feel like it should be called Astrobot, though I get why it's called Astro's Playroom, because it's this combination between the Playroom games that we've gotten and Astrobot, which is its own thing. But yeah, just had that comment.
Okay, good. No, it's one of the many things to confuse. There's so many different ways to tackle this. Of course, like I said, this is what I've just detailed for you, the unboxing, obviously being able to handle it, show it to you. I have a bunch of questions that apply to all that. And then, of course, the one level of Astro. How do you want to tackle it, Blessing? For you, this is our first time on camera, able to say anything about our hands-on time with the PlayStation 5. Where do you start?
That's a really good question. I guess we should start from unboxing it. Like, what was that experience like for you? Like, I know the first two things I noticed were, one, the DualSense, because that was the first thing I took out before I even got to the box. And I held it, started pressing the buttons, started seeing how everything felt. And I guess off the bat, like, I really like how it holds. I really like how it feels. Yeah. I mentioned in my own unboxing video that I would the buttons were like the one thing where I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to play some of the PS5 to know how I actually feel about the buttons, because I feel like the buttons are kind of flatter compared to the PS4 buttons. And actually playing a game, I didn't think about the difference. I didn't really feel the difference. Once you're in the zone, it's the thing that you don't think about. But like upon first impression, I was like, oh man, whoa, these buttons are kind of flat. But yeah, overall, like I really like this thing. Where you at?
Yeah, let me bring in Charles Jakobsen, who wrote into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and says, hey, Greg and Blessing, since you're NDA'd, let me ask some questions that I assume would be allowed. The DualSense, how does it feel? Not the features. I simply ask, how does it feel to hold? I recently held the DualShock 3 and it felt so cheap/bad in comparison to the DualShock 4. They tend to make their latest iteration feel better. Is this the case, or does it feel like a weird third-party controller? And I think that's stuff we can't talk about. Oh, no, actually, no, this does. Well, I'll save it and we'll get to it in a second. Kevin, there's a link there if you see in Charles's question at the very bottom there. I just highlighted if you can toss that up. I was right there with you, Blessing, and I talked about it in my unboxing of, next year will be 14 years full-time since I started at IGN covering PlayStation. It was crazy to me to be on camera in that unboxing, opening the box and about to see the system for the first time in the flesh, to hold the controller for the first time in the flesh, to have this completely sight unseen approach to PlayStation 5. And so, yeah, getting it into my hand, the first thing I did was grabbed it, felt it, played some, or felt how I went and hit the buttons, but then holding a DualShock 4 with it, right, and feeling, all right, this, the DualSense is a little bit heavier, but I like that to it. And then I was the same way for me, it wasn't the buttons being flatter, it was more the fact that this felt the space or the real estate around the D-pad didn't feel like there was as much, that it was even closer to being flush to the side of it. And then when I compared it to the DualSense in the video, it was that, the DualSense the DualShock 4 makes such a big deal of having it be like that, like the controller has all this curvature to it and then it's flat right there.
Yes.
And it's as flat here. They just don't make as big a deal about it. But I'm with you that holding it and feeling the build is that it feels like a step up. Charles is asking, does it feel bad or cheap or any of these things? Like, to me, it feels like the evolution. And I know that's so much they've talked about with PlayStation 5. We go back to Mark Cerny's speech at what would have been GDC, right? In talking about the PlayStation 5 being an evolution of the PlayStation 4 and seeing this lineage. And that's what the DualSense feels like to me. It doesn't feel like a radical redesign. It feels natural in my hand. I think, based off of one weekend, right? I think I like it more than the DualShock. But again, it's because it feels so similar, even though it has its differences. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think immediately I had that feeling of I like this more than the DualShock. Not that there's anything wrong with the DualShock 4. I think the DualShock 4 is great. But yeah, like the DualSense is heavier. It feels like I feel like it holds better in my hand. That's another thing I said during my unboxing. And I don't know what it is about the DualShock 4 that it feels right, but it feels 95% there in terms of me holding the DualShock 4 and me being like, all right, this feels right. But there's always something off about it, and I couldn't even tell you what it is. I don't know if it's for the fact that like
hold it up like that, so they're getting a side by side. No, yeah, exactly. See, for me, I think some of it is, and this is something we talked about when we've seen original photos of the DualSense, is that when you look at the DualShock, the way they have the sticks and the form factor to it. That they're rounded and that does protrude. There's something about holding the DualSense like I hold my controller, and I assume most of us do, that this actual flat flush part here at the very bottom of it, I feel rests not better, but differently. And for some reason that makes it feel even more natural. And I think that's the biggest thing about it, is that like, by no means does the DualSense look like alien technology, but it does look different than the DualShocks we've known before. But it still feels like what it feels so good that I don't think about it.
Yeah, like it feels traditional, and it feels like that slight evolution that you kind of want from the DualShock. I will say I've since they revealed how the PS5 looks and how the DualSense looked, I had the thing of, all right, I don't know how I feel about the design. I don't know if I like the mostly white look with like the highlights of black in there. Like I felt like they're going for almost like a too futuristic look to it, you know, very like a Detroit Become Human-esque look to it. I felt like they're going too far in certain places with that. Actually seeing it in real life, I am very much way more okay with it. And that might be a combination of me being used to it after seeing it on the internet for so long.
Sure.
But then yeah, it's like first impression taking out the box, I was immediately like, yeah, no, this looks good. I don't really have much wrong with it.
So I'd like to bring that into it a little bit then, right? Right now, while we're still in the DualSense camp, and I think this will play into what Charles is actually, his second part of his question was, but Eric Koval wrote in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like you can, and says, so what gives with the lack of colors for the DualSense at launch? Is this just a production issue? I really want a second controller, but I don't want two of the same controller. I think this speaks to exactly what you're talking about, Blessing, of the fact that the PlayStation 5 has such a distinct look. And we've seen that from the start, right? Where it was, you know, that debut of it and this white, black, and blue color scheme to it. And that is driven home, obviously, by the controller, by the box itself, by everything we've seen so far. And so where are the other colors? I think that is a specific decision by PlayStation that in some way, shape, or form could be influenced by COVID, could be influenced by production, could be a million different things. I think it is that for launch, they want a very distinct, this is what PlayStation is. This is what our color scheme is. This is what the PlayStation 5 is. And I talked about it, you know, when the store was getting updated. And last week, I think I mentioned on this show that, you know, I went to redeem a code on PlayStation.com or whatever. And, you know, the new loading screen had that white and like that futuristic white, sterile, you know, futuristic look to it. And I think that is a very conscious effort by them to brand that and own a color scheme in the same way Xbox owns that green. You know what I mean? Like, I think there is something to that. Am I wrong, Blessing?
No, I 100% agree. I think it's very intentional to try and well, they're in a very intentional way trying to cement, hey, this is what PlayStation is now. And like I think down the road, in the same way that we get the PS4 Pro, you know, or the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X, down the road, I think in that way, PlayStation is looking at the colors for this thing, and they're like, all right, yeah, a year down the line, maybe Black Friday 2021 or 2022, that's when we'll start releasing new colors for the controller or new color schemes for the controller, and maybe new faceplates for the actual console itself.
Yeah, I think right now you want to launch, you want to have a character, you want to have a brand, you want to have an identity, and that's why you do it this way and you don't deviate from it. I think you need to establish that. And I think, you know, for the people who already have rushed out and pre-ordered this, have snatched them up, you know, like we always say, like, they're going to sell out. It doesn't matter. I think it's in the same thing for Eric, where you really want a second controller, you're probably just going to buy this other controller. Yeah. And then hopefully for PlayStation, they're hoping that you're just going to buy, when they put out crazy colors, you'll buy whatever they put out there too, the red, the blues, with the whatever. However, Charles Jakobsen followed up on his question here. And now that you've seen the whiteness of the PlayStation 5 in your setup, does it stand out? Are you tempted to buy a PlayStation 5? Kevin, this is a link. If you could toss this up, I had tweeted this out earlier last week, I guess, that of course there already is something. You can go to the Plate Station, like a dinner plate, and it is custom, different covers for the PlayStation, for the walls of the PlayStation 5. So to get rid of that white, you can buy it in matte black, cherry red, chromatic, indigo blue, or jungle camo, all for $40 right there to slide on and slide off, and have that be your color scheme for it. For me personally, Charles, I love the white design, and it stands out. Yeah, it catches my eye every time I enter the room. Not the whiteness of it, I don't think, but the fact that, oh my God, there's the PlayStation 5, right? It's still so crazy to sit here and be holding it. And have it ready to go, and I'm going to play something tonight, or I'm going to do whatever, I'm going to turn it on, and there it is. And so that's why it stands out right now to me. I don't think it's a white issue of it. Now, granted, I love the futuristic vibe of it. I do love the Detroit Become Human, sterile tech part and what they're going for, but it hasn't stood out to me in terms of like, oh man, like it's distracting while I play or something like that. I think, that's just the design of it. And there's more to say, I guess, otherwise, but we can talk about when it's turned off. Blessing, what do you think of it just as you walk in the room and it's off? What do you think?
I've not had it as part of like my TV setup yet. Like I've been playing it via my computer monitor or the big TV I have out in the living room, which doesn't have like an entertainment center set up. I basically just have my consoles on the floor next to this big TV that's being wheeled around in my living room because we stole it from the Kind of Funny studio. But my thing is, I like it when it's stood up more than when it's laying on its side. And that might pose an issue for me, because if I did want it to be part of my entertainment center back here, that I would have to lay it down. And I don't necessarily love that. That said, if I found a way for it to just maybe sit next to the side of it, standing up, I think I'd be fine with that. I've not necessarily gotten to like, visualize it all the way, but I'm a little bit conflicted there in terms of how I feel about it. But I think that's more given the size than anything. Like I'm fine with the white design. I think it looks good overall. I am tempted to get the one of the plate stations. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, the plate station. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm tempted to get one of those because they do.
The matte black looks dope, and when they have the mock-ups of it on an all black PlayStation 5, it does look pretty cool. Yeah. And so does the chromatic thing of having that reflective surface to it. That looks pretty cool too. But I mean, that doesn't distract. If you're worried about the white distracting, I think the giant chrome Cylon helmet or underneath your thing is going to be a different story.
Yeah, and that's my thing. The black one, the matte black one, does speak to me just because that will then match with anything else in that center. Namely, my the Xbox Series X. That I'll end up having, right. Like, I want that. I want those to match along with my black Nintendo. Well, actually, no. Now my Nintendo Switch has Joy-Cons that are different colors, and so that's not going to match anyway. But I do like a black color scheme for that stuff because black goes with everything. Like that's kind of the rule with matching colors, and so it's still to be determined as far as the color sticking out for me, but I don't think it's that huge of a deal.
One of it's cool to have it. Obviously, it's cool to have these embargoes rolling out where we can start talking. And obviously, like I said, a lot more coverage coming here. YouTube.com/kindoffunnygames, kindoffunny.com/PS5. But I'm excited today to end the show and end the workday because then I can actually set the PlayStation 5 up underneath the TV the way I want to. Like our lives are very weird, I know, but like we're recording this on a Monday. The embargo lifts on a Tuesday. Like we couldn't show it outside of the box until Tuesday. So today, like I played all weekend with it just standing over on the side of my setup because I knew for Monday for in review, I'd have to disconnect it and move it out of the frame. But today to be able to go in there and put it where it, belongs underneath the TV, have it set up there, have just the one HDMI power cable drop to it. I'm excited to see what that looks like. Because, I only know it as something standing off to the side. So, again, it draws its attention because, oh, my gosh, it's finally here. And I'm, excited to play it every day when I need to go do stuff for work on redacted.
I kind of have a similar situation going on with how I'm using it, right? Because I am back and forth between this monitor, the big TV out there. Yeah. Ideally, that TV's not going to be here at a certain point. Like whenever we move back into the studio, that TV's going there.
Sure it is.
And so I'm going to have to figure out how to actually, I'm going to miss it too. I'm going to have to figure out how to actually fit this thing into an entertainment center that I can actually have and know that is indefinite. And that's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a puzzle, but it doesn't feel like an impossible puzzle, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And that's the, excitement of new hardware and bringing these boxes home is then figuring it out and balancing what it's going to look like in these entertainment centers. Now, were you surprised? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I'm a very big Halloween fan, as we all know. I am also getting very hot in this costume because I put it on over my clothes, and so this costume is coming out.
God damn it! Commit, Bless, commit.
I'm sweating.
Oh my God, sweat.
What I appreciated about it was that you got up and put it on rather than just wear it like around your waist. Like you could have just started the show with it around your waist and then just pulled it up, and I would have been like, "Oh my God!" Like it was funny either way.
Yeah, no, that would have been a great idea because
that's
it was
why
you're
like
the
5
king,
minutes.
Greg.
That's why I'm the king, and I know how to do it because I wear my Ghostbuster outfit so much. Because for me, Halloween isn't one day of the year; it's an entire lifetime.
Okay, well, we you can't just lie to the people and say Halloween is 365 days in a year, 366 in a leap year.
Halloween's the best holiday, and you know it. I heard you like trying to be like, oh, I'm not going to run for King of Christmas today.
I'm not. Why would I listen?
Why'd you run for King of Halloween? Just to hurt my feelings. That's why.
Because I love Halloween. I'm not running for King of Christmas because this Halloween run has been very active, and it's why I understand why people drop out of politics. You know, after getting the president,
sure.
They're like, okay, cool. Fair. I never want to do this ever again. Like, you know, sure. Like I feel like Obama with the gray hair stepping out of the White House for the final time. You know, I'm like, right,
I knew you couldn't hack it. I knew you couldn't even. You were a charlatan. You couldn't even handle the crown. That's what it comes down to. Blessing, were you shocked by the weight of the PlayStation 5?
Not shocked because I think I saw it coming. Like it's, I mean, it's heavy, but it's a console. All consoles are going to be heavy. But also like seeing, except for like the Switch, but seeing it online, like seeing pictures of it, and especially seeing like mock-ups that people have done, comparisons compared to other consoles. I already expected it to be big, and yeah, it is. It's big. Like in my unboxing, I held it up and I stood back there in the back of my room and like held it against me, and it is the size of my torso. Seeing it beside the PS4, it seems like it devours that thing.
Totally. In my unboxing, it's funny. We're talking about them. You can see them on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, but Blessing and I have not seen each other's yet because they're not live, obviously. But in mine, I held up Porty next to it, and like it's the length of his entire torso with just his head at the top of it. Like, it's a big old system because wiener dogs are long. You know what I mean? Like you're expecting it to be that long.
But yeah.
Enough of the hardware for a second. Mark Freeman writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like you can, to be part of this show, and says, what can you tell me about my most anticipated game of the year, Astro's Playroom? In particular, we can't answer that. But how does it seem? How does the game play? What did you think of it? Of course, first impressions are up. We can only talk about one of the stages, which is Cooling Springs, Blessing. I obviously watched you play it for the first time. Then we walked away and haven't talked about it since. Where are you at a few days later with it?
Yeah, I think I really, really, really enjoyed that Cooling Springs level. I think it is a great introduction into the PS5 and what it is, and like it feels like it's ushering us in. Like that's kind of what it feels meant for, right? Like when you step in, and the first things I pointed out, even in my first impressions that people can go watch right now, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, podcast services around the globe, is that, you know, the way in which they utilize the DualSense, you know, they do that in very smart ways because it's meant to show off like these are the new features of the system. Totally. And in that Cooling Springs level, like there's like a springy ability that you can use where when you press R2 on the DualSense, there is a tension to it that it makes it feel like you're pulling a spring. Like for all the marketing that we've read about, this is how it's going to feel when you're pulling a bow in Horizon or whatever game. I don't think they ever specified a game, but when you're pulling a bow, right? Like when they talk about that stuff, that stuff is very evident, you know, in that in Cooling Springs in Astro's Playroom, because like they do a good job of giving even different examples of it. Like there's another example of I pull like my trigger will feel the way that it does, let's say on the PS4, right? It feels regular, but like they can set it so that if you pull it halfway, it feels regular. Then you have to pull through to actually.
Exactly. That's the thing about it, where I think we've all heard the bow enough. We've all heard like, oh, you'll be able to feel the gravel on your tires thing. I played. I watched you play Cooling Springs, then I went back and played it, and then I played it over and over and over again to get all the trophies that I could possibly get out of the one level. What I found about it was, it was those exact experiences you're having, where it's the pulling down and then it's stopping and then having to power through whatever that second half of the controller is, controller trigger pull is, which I don't know if for me saying it, spelling it out for you makes it make sense, a listener or viewer, but like playing it does. And playing it is that thing of hitting it and that being that stopping point and then realizing you have to power through that and then seeing, you know, Astrobot do whatever he needs to do to get through that part. It's like, okay.
Even when I was saying it on the first impressions, I didn't even know if it was coming across or not, like what was exactly going on with the triggers. But like it's really cool. And I'm very curious and excited to see how other developers use it, like first party or third party or even indie. Like I want to know if and how that stuff gets used, because it's one of those things where I know Xbox on their side for their controllers, they have like vibration functions or motor functions within the triggers, but I don't know if they have this a similar thing where there's developer control in terms of how the triggers actually function and how much you can pull and all that stuff tension wise. And I know for PC, right, like you can use whatever controller you want on a PC, and so for third party developers, it's like, all right, like if we're developing a game for all platforms, how much are we really going to utilize this one function of the PS5? That's the one thing that gives me concern. But that said, I think it's a really cool feature, and I can't wait to see how it's used in like Quantic Dream games. Even though Quantic Dream, I think I don't think they're making PlayStation games in the same way that they have because they're
multi-platform,
PC, right? They're multi-platform now. But in those cases, like how do these things get used? The touchpad, I get the impression that the touchpad might be more accurate than it's been. I don't know if you gotten the same impression.
Well, in Astro, we just used it to fling Astrobot out of the controller, right? And was there something else we did with it? I forget.
Nothing I can think of.
Doesn't matter. But I mean, for me, it felt like the touchpad, and it was used about as much in Astro's Playroom in Astro's Playroom in Cooling Springs was used as much as it ever is anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm with you that like I'm not saying I thought it was all not even garbage or marketing speak, but actually using the DualSense and using it in Astro's Playroom in particular is where it's like, oh fuck, okay, I get it. And it's what we did with the first impressions, right? Where again, we can only show Cooling Springs and talk about Cooling Springs, but Cooling Spring uses all these mechanics and the controller stuff. And so we you started loading up the game, and even there it was just like, here's what the buttons are, like if you've never used a DualSense before. And even that we recorded your reactions to, because it was like, and all it is the DualSense, right? And it is getting into that. It is that idea of like, oh holy shit, like there is a difference here. And so, your point of like how other people are going to use it and will they use it, that's the bummer of it, of like, I don't, is Assassin's Creed Valhalla going to invest a lot of time in what it can do with the controllers and whatever? Mm-hmm. I don't really care, because if I'm getting experiences from PlayStation or PlayStation exclusive things, you know what I mean? Like you look at all the third-party deals they've signed, to have other studios come in and make something, or like getting something like Bugsnats exclusively for a little bit, or, I guess exclusively forever. Do we even know? Have they announced? No, it's PlayStation.
It's coming to PC.
Also. It is PC. Right. Exactly. So like, whatever, you assume that's a window or whatever, like that coming off and being a starting point, you assume that hopefully PlayStation has to be forcing them to use the controller the exact same way and do cool shit. And like, if I'm getting those experiences that do make the game better or make the game more interesting or make the game feel different with the DualSense, then that's all I care about. Because again, it's a super good feeling. Like it's, we've compared it so many times to the HD rumble of Switch, but that's the easiest comparison, where it is like how many ice cubes are in the thing, to be playing it and again have it in Astro be so natural, but also be like sliding on ice and having that feeling, right? Like to be, so much of it is the Astro you'd expect from Astrobot Rescue Mission, which I would hope you've all played, because we've all talked about how amazing it is. But that tension in the line of pulling something up from underground, like that pull yank explosion feeling. Like,
and finally understanding too, like when they talked about haptic feedback, like understanding what they mean when they say haptic feedback. Like I mentioned on the first impressions, the pitter patters of Astro's footsteps, and actually feeling that at the bottom of the controller, and it's like, oh, okay, that is a really cool thing. That is a really cool function, because it really, like you really feel him as he's walking around. I can only imagine how that translates to, say, like a racing game, and to actually feel a car rev off and like speed off into the sunset, right? Like feeling that feeling at the bottom of my controller, or however they implement that, right? Like in my triggers, however that's done. I think that could be really cool.
So getting away from just the controller business of it, what's your read days later on Astro as a platformer, as trying to be the follow-up to Astro Rescue Bot,
Astrobot Rescue Mission?
Right. Thank you very much.
That studio is so talented, and during my first impressions, I was gushing all the way through. And they're very good at making video games, and making Astrobot specifically. And after going through Cooling Springs, I think I immediately understood why PlayStation reached out to them to do this thing that is very tech demo-y. Like after doing Cooling Springs, I kind of side with what you mentioned earlier on shows, as far as Astro's Playroom and what it is, and like is this going to be like a Astrobot rescue mission, or is this going to be more of a playroom kind of thing? How does that all net out? I kind of side with you now that, okay, now after going through Cooling Springs, I see very vividly that this is PlayStation being like, we want to usher people into this console, and we want you to have this cool first experience that you're going to have, and then probably play and then go on to the rest of your library. And so, like, for what it is, I think it is fantastic. I think I really enjoyed all of what I played of that Cooling Springs level, and I think, yeah, like I don't know.
See, what's interesting, if I can interrupt you, what I think is interesting, and if for somebody is joining us and doesn't know what we're talking about, like, we did the Metacritic thing, predicting the Metacritics a while ago for the launch lineup, and I forgot what you said for Astro's Playroom, but my thing was, I think it might be unrated because I think people are going to treat it like a demo, and it's included with the PlayStation, so would you really review it? And so you had been very much in the camp of, these are the people who made Astrobot Rescue Mission, an amazing PlayStation VR game, let alone an amazing platformer, period, that everybody should play and everybody should try. And it's so ingenious. And I agree 100%. And so you were on one side where you're like, I think with Playroom of like, oh, this is going to be a full-fledged game. And I was like, I think it might just be a tech demo. And I think both of us have come towards each other in the middle, where after playing Cooling Springs, for me, it is very much of like, yeah, you can see that they're like, let me show you everything the controller can do. And like, at one point there is like, Cooling Springs obviously is all about cold. And so there's a lot of snow and there's a lot of ice. And there's one part where you get on like an iceberg and it's got a pinwheel on the back. And so you need to blow into the microphone on the DualSense to spin the thing to make them go, right? So there's all that stuff of getting involved with that. However, I think if you, like I did, want to go and replay it and try to get every trophy that's in that level, it gets into the, I think, ingenious design that is Astro in general and what you'd expect from that. So it's interesting, I think, for your not expectations to come down, or I see it is more of a tech demo, and me to come up and be like, I think it is also a really good game and platformer. I'm excited to go back and play the other levels and do all the other stuff in it.
Do you think it'll be rated?
I stand by. It's a very fascinating thing. Obviously, without tipping our hand too much or violating anything else, the fact that we're talking about it means that it's able to be played, which means that if you have a PlayStation 5, you're probably playing this game. And in the lead up, if I'm an IGN or a GameSpot or whoever, like, I mean, full disclosure, we plan on doing a full review of it for Kind of Funny when the embargo's up for that, of sitting down and be like, this is what we thought of it, and yada, yada, yada. I think that resonates probably industry-wide of, well, there's so few PlayStation 5 games, and we already have this PlayStation 5 game. Yeah, of course we're going to review it. Like, might as well have the entire launch lineup covered, even if it does this. I think if I remember right from my Metacritic, it was more of like one of my crazy fadeaway jump shots of like, let's see if this goes, I look awesome, and if it doesn't, nobody cares. Blessing's going to beat me no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, I think I could see it. I think it's less likely that it won't. I think it'll be talked about quite a bit. I stand by the fact, and full disclosure, we do not have Sackboy. I stand by the fact that Astro and Sackboy, I feel, while not exactly the same, are very similar. If they were out in the same time, or if you had both, or there was that, there might be a thing of like, well, Sackboy is the one they're selling in stores. That's the where I prioritize the review. But again, obviously, you're playing this game already. Why wouldn't you just do it? I think
I can see that,
and I think more power to them, because I mean, again, like, getting away from the bells and whistles of it, like, I enjoyed every moment I spent in Cooling Springs, because it was like, go through and, I pull up the thing to throw over there to make the bridge go or to get to the next thing. But then, all right, cool, there's stuff hanging in that tree I can hit with it too. And I hit that and it would open up a new path, and it would be like, okay, cool. And like, the whole thing, as the packed in demos for PlayStation consoles have always been, I shouldn't say always, but in this case with the Astrobots, right? Like, it's chock full of love of PlayStation, and like seeing the other bots around the world reenacting PlayStation scenes. And this is just in Cooling Springs. I don't want to ruin them for you or whatever. A lot of them are in the Let's Play, but even beyond that, of like, seeing Kratos and Atreus, like, you know what I mean, on a little boat in the water, like the little bots dressed up to look like them. There's a bunch later that you have to get off the beaten path a bit to go see, and they are honoring PlayStation games from the past. Like, that, and like, we're in the video, we're collecting the artifacts, right? Like, we're pulling up things and getting pieces of PlayStation lore to add to an overall collection, but we can only talk about this one section, right, of going through and doing this. And it's like, I don't care if that is more of a tech demo. I don't care if this is a short experience. Again, obviously it's free. It is that idea that you can play through that in one time and then do what I did, right? Where the level itself, what's our let's play? 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 25, something like that.
I think it was like 20 minutes.
Yeah, right. We'll say 20. It's like I then went and played that for, I don't even know, another half hour, if not more, to get everything and find everything. And it's like, it's that fun part right now where, we're playing obviously way pre-release stuff. And so there's no guides or anything. So it was a lot of like, shit, I'm missing one puzzle piece. Where the fuck is it? Like, what didn't I see? I thought I've done everything. And like, then to figure it out and find it and have that satisfaction and have that endorphin rush of actually doing it. Because obviously as you play through, there are artifacts to find, there are puzzle pieces to find, there's just a level to clear. And so you're going through and platforming and doing all of that. And again, I think, for this game in particular, I should say specifically, to be able to hit the options button at any time, see the world map, like, Cooling Springs is split up into 4 sections. And at any time you can see after you've beaten it or while you're doing it, like the number of artifacts you have to collect there, the number of puzzle pieces to collect in there. Like, where you're at in this collectathon platformer, which is what I want out of it.
Yeah. It feels like a great combination of Astrobot rescue missions, genius level design, like what they've learned from that game and what they put into that game, but then also this level PlayStation. Like I've described it before as this. It feels like New Donk City from Mario Odyssey, but throughout the course of like just put into this game, right? Like that's what this whole thing is about, is celebrating PlayStation. And you mentioned like the Atreus thing. I really like the idle animations, which for the ones I saw, one of them was them playing in the Astro. I keep wanting to call him Astro Boy, even though Astro Boy is an anime, not the Astrobot. It's Astrobot, playing in PlayStation VR, but then also the other idle animation we saw was him playing a Vita. And like that's the kind of stuff that I love, right? And when it comes to the level design, like they still kept that same feeling of, hey, just turn your camera a bit, like in Astro Rescue Mission. One of the ingenious things about that game that I really love is it's all about, for you in VR, looking around at times you wouldn't even think to like look right or look left or look backward to then find a thing that is hidden so you can go collect it, or find because you're collecting all the Astrobots, find an Astrobot that is stranded somewhere. At the start of every level in Astrobot Rescue Mission, I always look backward because usually there's something right behind me in those levels that I could miss if I just go on forward. And they keep a similar thing here where there are certain points in the level where I look left or I look right on the camera and I'm like, oh, there's a path over here that I would have missed if I didn't just pan around. And that's the stuff that I really like about it.
There was one, that's what I'm talking about with the ingenious stuff of it, right? Of like, I hate in a game where I know there's a certain amount of puzzle pieces or whatever, collectibles, and I can't find them for the life of me. And I feel like I need a guide to figure it out. Like, the way they broke it up into these 4 sections for one level, once I ran it once or twice, it was very much like you knew different areas. And so I figured like this. And so to like, for the smallest of things, I'd be like, all right, cool. There's so much stuff, other bots running around, reenacting other PlayStation games. Like that was my favorite thing of like, some of them are very abstract. Like some of them are on the nose. Clearly that's Kratos. There's other ones where it's like, you walk up and I'm like, what? Oh, and it's like given away by one of the Astrobot jackets. I'm like, oh, I see what you're making a reference to. That's very cute. It's the same thing of so much is going on and so much isn't really interactable. Like a lot of the scenes of like, at least what I've seen of them reenacting PlayStation games, it's not like you do anything to them. You can knock them down, but they'll get back up. There was one, where I looked over and there was like an Astrobot suspended by balloons. And it was like, okay, cool. And then after trying to find stuff, I was like, wait, can I knock that down and come back and like throw stuff at them and have them fall? And it didn't lead to the answer at all. But it was like, oh man, like that's how you have to be thinking of like, what can I interact with? What can it spur forward? Like walls that you think are solid to smash them and then be like, oh, here's this thing right here. Or be, that platforming thing of you're going, and there's an arrow pointing to the right. You then look to the left and like, wait a second, you go to the left, you find what you want. Like, it's just really fun. It's really fun and refreshing.
They're really good at making a video game over there.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Pivoting off of that, but talking about PlayStation 5 still and having it, Jeremy Creamer writes in to patreon.com/kindafunnygames and says, hey, Bless and Greg, I know you guys have little you can talk about with the PlayStation 5 you recently got. So my question is about how you actually wound up with one of those great big beautiful boxes at your doorstep. I remember back when pre-orders were dropping, all the content creators in my Twitter feed were buzzing and trying to get their pre-orders and celebrating when they did. Now I see most of the same people celebrate receiving the PlayStation 5 early in the mail that was sent directly from Sony. Were you pre-ordering just to cover your bases in case Sony didn't send you one? Or are your pre-orders for the home or friends who couldn't get their own? Or is Sony simply sending you your pre-ordered or paid console early? Not trying to be a jealous hater, just a curious question I had about the process. Jeremy. Jeremy, you're not being a jealous hater at all. And I know that especially now where it is, we're limited with what we can talk about, but especially where, your favorite content creators and Kind of Funny in particular deal in authenticity. This question I'm happy to answer. And I did it on the Reddit too, but I think I was actually right before a show went live on Friday, so I was a little bit rushed in what I said. The long and short of it is that what I always say is I've been doing it for 14 years. You know what I mean? For many people, luckily, I'm, a PlayStation voice. People understand that Greg Miller talks about PlayStation, and PlayStation understands that too. So they work with us and give us opportunities. All that said, nothing in life is promised, and nothing in this industry is owed to me or Kind of Funny. And so when you saw everybody pre-ordering and trying to get it and yada, 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 like that's because everybody is a legitimate fan and everybody is all about this. They are, and I shouldn't say everybody, but us in particular, we'll say Kind of Funny. Everyone's authentically into playing video games and having fun. And so, yeah, I'd like to think it's a no-brainer that we're going to get PlayStations from PlayStation 5, or we're going to get PlayStation 5s from PlayStations. We'll get them way in advance. We're going to have all this time with it. If there's a reviewer event, we'll be invited. Yeah, da-da-da-da-da. The long and short of that is that we are not promised any of that. And PlayStation in this particular instance, and and everybody else for that matter, I guess, but very specifically PlayStation is right, didn't communicate ahead of time when pre-orders went live that, hey, don't worry about it, you guys, you're fine. Let alone that if this was a normal year, if this wasn't a crazy pandemic, we're all working from home, the units that Blessing and I got would very much be office units. They would stay at the office. There wouldn't be a need for them to come home with us. Well, there would be a need, but I mean, they would be owned by the office. So what I was talking about with the PlayStation 4s, I got at the office for IGN, where, Scott Lowe and I went to the PlayStation launch event in New York. I got a PlayStation there that was IGN's. They had a guy engraving PlayStations. So I hit up my boss at IGN and I was like, hey, I want to get mine engraved with Game Over Greggy on it. The one that I bought and paid for that's arriving on 2 days on launch, that'll be the IGN one. And they were like, fine, no big deal. And that's what I did. It would have been a similar thing here, I think, where you would have seen that we're all pre-ordering our personal ones, and then these are the office ones. These are still the office ones, but when the hell are we going back to the office? And the way, the embargo works is that, like, they don't leave our site. And so it's not something we can pass around. And so even when you talk about this, I think it's important to talk about for Kind of Funny, and I can only specifically talk about us, right? Remember that we are a full-time team of 9, 14 if you include all our contractors, and Blessing and I are the only ones with PlayStation 5s right now, which on the one hand is fucking awesome for me and Blessing. We're cool, Blessing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Fuck everybody else. But on the other hand, it sucks for everybody else because it's like, well, I'd love to have other people on these reviews. Right now, think about that. Every PlayStation 5 thing, Blessing and I are playing frantically because we want to be able to put out these reviews and we want to do it. And like, they're going to be Gamescast reviews, and hopefully by then we'll have other people on them. But you might just get a couple weeks of PS I Love Yous followed by PS I Love You Gamescasts, where it's just us reviewing things and talking, which isn't bad, but we want to take care of everybody. And so, again, specifically about us, like the pre-orders were very specifically and frantically for us getting them is that we wanted to make sure we were taking care of our personal units, but then also the company. And so that was a big thing for us of like, we are building this brand new studio. We want to make sure we're staffing with PlayStation 5s for whenever we can go back to it. And this is obviously changing on a month by month basis. But then it's the other thing of like, what if, Barrett orders he's got it pre-ordered, everything's great, and then his pre-order falls through. But I had canceled my pre-order from Amazon that I would have gotten on the day that I could have given to Barrett. Like, that's how we're all dealing with it in the 2020 COVID world, is that everybody's keeping their pre-orders so that we can make sure we're taking care of each other. And then if that's all taken care of, then it's taking care of the office. And if some chance we take care of the office, then I know Poe wants one. He wants to buy it from me, and a whole bunch of other people. I don't want to name names. There's a surprise out there for somebody. They want to get it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole bunch of different stuff going on. But the long and short of it, Jeremy, is that nothing's promised anybody. And so I was going to have a PlayStation 5, come hell or high water. And I wanted to make sure I had it on launch day, which meant that I'm going to pre-order, and I'm going to pre-order from a couple different sites because it is my livelihood to make sure I have this so we can have coverage of it, because that's how I know how to do my job and go through and do it. And so I know you're not a hater. I know you're not. Like, I love that PlayStation thinks to send us stuff. I know they have at other times not sent us stuff, or I know they haven't sent as many as I would have liked them to send. And I know there's been plenty of other preview or review events in the history of the world that Kind of Funny is too small for. I know it's always this hard thing, because I think of Kind of Funny as something that is currently run out of my house, but is also 9 of my best friends doing a bunch of different content that we're all just making it up as we go. And I know that a lot of times for the audience, they view us as like, oh, like there's IGN, there's GameSpot, there's Kind of Funny. And I know there's a bunch of other sites too, but you understand what I'm saying? We're in that conversation, which is great, which means we've done it. But to me, I don't think of us that way. And so I had a similar conversation with another company today where I was like, I know we're a small fish. And they're like, you are not a small fish. And I'm like, my YouTube views beg to differ, but it's that kind of thing where you never know what's going to happen. And so that's why you see everybody out there scrambling. Cause again, you name the content creator and they got it through the review program. Great. But there's an excellent chance they couldn't. And that's the other thing too. You don't have to look far to see other people who didn't get their PlayStation 5s, who weren't on that list, or just got one console for a staff of 19 or whatever. Sorry, Blessing, I rambled.
No, it was a good ramble.
Yeah. But that was the point of it, right, Bless, is that you just got to be ready for anything. And like personally, again, like, I don't know. It's a Greg Miller thing, I guess, and definitely a Kind of Funny thing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, we talked about this like a few weeks ago during our talk with the show. Like we had a whole discussion about, is PlayStation even going to send PS5s? Like, what do you think their process is going to be? And we like easily, I think we're like, yeah, no, we could see a situation where they just don't, because why do they need to? Like I made the whole argument of, it'd help out their partners. It'd help out, their partners meaning like media and third parties and indies and everybody involved with PlayStation. But PlayStation is a company themselves, right? Like there is that, oh, well, do they need to? Like, does it benefit them as a company too? Or like, is a better strategy just to like either send these the day of, or let people get them themselves and let things happen as they will? Because in the current world, right, like these things are going to sell out given manufacturing, like how hard do they really need to market everything when everything is already sold? Like when we get into that, there is a realistic expectation of, hey, we might not get these. And that's kind of that for me, that's all it took for me to be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to make sure I get one, because nothing is promised, pretty much, as you said.
And that's the other thing too, is like, you made a joke earlier, like fuck Tim Geddes or whatever, right? Like that was the other thing, is like, I understand that, like, obviously I owe Tim my entire last 5 years. Like Kind of Funny would not work without him, and we would be a far different, smaller company where I'd probably have a part-time job if it wasn't for Tim. But it is that thing of like, when him and I had that conversation when the emails came in from PlayStation, right? Of like, all right, cool. And it was that push and pull that I think speaks to his character and wanting to make Kind of Funny the best it is, where he was like, I was like, do you want it, or should we give it to Blessing? And I didn't say it, but he knew. He's like, the content will be better if we give it to Blessing. Like, he's the co-host of the PlayStation show. Like, we have to balance it out that way, right? And it's like, that's a tough adult level decision for a bunch of me, Nick, and Tim who think we're clowns who just run this company somehow, right? Of like, yeah, all right, somebody, let him do it, let him take it and go make the content that needs to be made with it. And that's, a perfect example of all this thing. And to your point, Blessing, is like, I had a lot of conversations with people in the run up to this of like, I could see them sending them out the week of a couple days before, not sending them out, just doing an event in San Mateo. Like, there's a bunch of different ways this could have gone. And I know they sound crazy, but you nail it of like, really, it's how, if you're already sold out, like, do you want it just to have that concentrated blast? You could have totally just owned November 11th, you know what I mean, when these things start rolling out internationally into the 12th, and just had it been live streams and people and IGN's doing this and that, and like, there's not reviews, but does anybody fucking care? Because like, already what you're buying at launch, right? Like, are you going to be surprised like that? What, this game actually reviewed better than, maybe Demon Souls, something like that. You're like, it's not really my jam, but you look at it like, okay, I'm in. Like, I feel like there's a bunch of different ways this could have gone. And so the way they're like right now, it's one of those things, this is great and it's awesome, but keep in mind too, like, and this is getting very close to me, like patting PlayStation in the back. Obviously I love people giving access. Microsoft, I think, does such a great job, yada, yada, yada. But like, in a lot of ways, they only have stuff to lose right now. Because it's only a matter of time before someone leaks whatever. Like, we're trying to follow their embargoes to the letter, right? We signed agreements and stuff. And most people will do that too. However, there will inevitably somebody who leaks stuff or fucks it up. And like, it could be us, where our video that, we're all right now. I have so much anxiety in me about all these reviews or embargoes for tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Of like putting it in at the wrong time and it goes live earlier, this, that, or the other, blah, blah. Like, there's that kind of thing.
Tomorrow meaning like, today, by the way, for people listening.
Like right, Tuesday. Exactly. Yeah. Well, hopefully
somebody's gonna be like, oh, there's a Wednesday embargo.
No. Yeah. It's like, it's a fun, exciting mess right now, as always, let alone with 2020, let alone with how this November is going to be and all this other shit. Like, it's crazy, but it's great.
It is.
Blessing.
Greg.
You are obsessed with Ghosts of Tsushima Legends.
Yeah, I am.
Tsushima Legends. Last week, you got to talk to some people from Sucker Punch about it, didn't you?
I did. I got to talk to, oh man, I should have written down the names. I talked to Nate and then the lead on Ghost of Tsushima Legends, which I'll say their names in the segment coming up. But yeah,
I got it. I'm looking. It was Nate and Darren Bridges.
Darren Bridges, thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah, I had about a 10 to 15 minute conversation with them talking about Ghost of Tsushima Legends and pretty much asking them all the questions that I had because I forget if I mentioned this on the previous episode or just on content in general. Playing Ghost of Tsushima Legends, that thing is awesome. I have a lot of questions on how that thing came to exist and where this came from because it feels like it came out of nowhere. They give a lot of great answers for where this thing actually came from. And so I guess I'll introduce it, ladies and gentlemen. Well, actually, do you want to go into an ad first and then go to it?
No, do this and then we'll do the ad afterwards.
All right, prepare for an ad afterwards. But here is my interview with the folks behind Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Tsushima Legends.
Does Kevin have this or Barrett?
Barrett.
Okay. I just messaged him to make sure he gets it to Cool Greg because Cool Greg will assemble this. Hi, Cool Greg, if you see this. Kevin, for this ad, should I come back and be like, now a word from our sponsor?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's a great interview, Blessing. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I wish, you made as much time as you put into Legends. I wish you were putting into Avengers, but it's no big deal.
I wish as much time as you're putting into Avengers, I wish you put into Legends because
damn, he got me. It's a
fourth for the raid,
Oh my God, it's the double duty right. Yeah, we're about to talk about the raid, but before we get to talking about the Ghost of Tsushima Legends raid, I'd like to tell you about our sponsors. Remember, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. You can be part of the show. You can watch it usually live as we record it. And of course, you can get that exclusive post show we do only on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. But most importantly, you can get the show ad free. And speaking of ads, Greg Way, here's our sponsor. This episode of PS I Love You XOXO is brought to you by EveryPlate. Experience full plates and fuller wallets with America's best value meal kit. Get meals you'll enjoy and your bank account will love delivered right to your door. Think of it this way, one meal is the same price as one cup of coffee. EveryPlate dinners are the cheaper alternative to takeout or delivery. EveryPlate offers contactless delivery to your doorstep for easy home cooking on a budget. EveryPlate's easy to follow recipes and pre-portioned ingredients take the stress out of dinner time. EveryPlate does the meal planning, shopping, and prepping for you, taking the time-consuming guesswork out of cooking. Never buy more ingredients than you need because EveryPlate's recipes come with everything already pre-measured. And plus, EveryPlate now offsets 100% of their carbon emissions. Tim Geddes was telling me about this. Gia has been using EveryPlate, and she's been liking it quite a bit from what I understand. They had steak the other night, which sounds delicious, and then Tim wrote this one down. They had pork and pineapple tacos with pickled veggies and lime crema. That sounds delicious. Why wouldn't you want to do this? It comes to your door. It's in a box. You open it up, pre-portioned ingredients, step-by-step instructions. You take the guesswork out of dinner with EveryPlate. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, you can get 3 weeks of EveryPlate meals for only $2.99 per meal by going to everyplate.com and entering the code PSILOVEYOU3. That's all one word. It's a numeral 3 at the end. So that again is everyplate.com, promo code PSILOVEYOU3. Every EVREY plate. I assume you know how to spell plate. PLATE.com. Promo code PSILOVEYOU3.
Now it's time for some PlayStation updates. Let's start off, Greg, with some Ghost of Tsushima Legends.
He did PS5 watch. Kevin did PS5 watch.
That was definitely the wrong graphic, but I'll let it slide.
Well, we don't have a PlayStation updates. I thought I just did the PS5 watch. My bad.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what we're saying. We're doing.
I guess technically we should have started the show with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess PS5.
Well, is it still a watch if we have it? Like,
well, that's my question. Is PS5 watch over?
Yeah, because PS5 watch was kind of like we were on the one if by sea, two if by air thing. You know what I mean? And like,
I guess I never really thought about PS5 watch ending. Do we end it like when it actually releases, or now that we have them?
I mean, I feel like the show pivoted into the PlayStation 5 show a couple months ago, so it doesn't. I don't even know.
That's true.
We can keep it forever. That'd be funny if in 6 years we're still doing the PS5 watch.
Yeah, when the PS6 is coming out, we're like, now it's time for the PS5 watch.
The PS5 watch will not end until we're on the PS6 watch. It's been decreed.
First update for you, Ghost of Tsushima Legends raid is incoming. This comes from the PlayStation blog. I asked during our interview last week, when is the raid coming? They were like, we cannot tell you. And then the next day, they literally told us. And I was like, this wasn't coming out. Like, this isn't live. You
should have told them. They know that? They don't know. I don't know if you know this about Nate Fox. Big dum-dum. You understand? He doesn't want to make a great game. Can't tie his own shoes out here.
I guess that makes sense. No, I'm just kidding. From the PlayStation blog, they write,
Nate's great.
We're excited to confirm that you'll be able to play the Tale of EO beginning on Friday, October 30th. That is this Friday. This is the culmination of the story in Ghost of Tsushima Legends, bringing the fight directly to EO's realm. This raid is divided into 3 chapters and requires a full team of 4 ghosts, as well as excellent coordination and communication. The Tale of EO will not support matchmaking, so you'll need to arrange your team ahead of time and be ready to jump in together. You'll want to have your gear at key level 100 as an absolute minimum before you attempt to take on this challenge. I am really excited about this. I kind of want to stream it, but my one issue so far is I want Simon Cardy on my squad. And I know over there in the great UK, the time differences.
Here's the thing about Simon Cardy though. I don't know how much. Have you played a lot with him?
I played like once with him so far.
This is Simon Cardy from IGN.com, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
Here's what I know. As somebody, he was also obsessed with Avengers. He already has the platinum. I'm grinding hives, but obviously review coverage has stopped me. He's a crazy person and plays at crazy hours. So if you just give him the heads up, hey, I'd like to stream with you and have you be part of the team, he will make it happen. He will wake up or he will just not go to bed because, again, I'm a crazy person. And this is a Friday, so it's into his Saturday, and it's a pandemic. What's he going to do?
That's a good point. I'll hit him up and see what's going on. But I kind of want to stream it on the Kind of Funny Vids channel or Kind of Funny Games.
I've heard of that channel. I've heard of that.
We'll see what happens. But I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm really excited about it.
I don't even know. And again, I joked that it was a good interview. I haven't seen it because, like, obviously, it's only been shared to the editor so far. Cool, Greg. In the thing, do you talk about how long the raid is going to be?
I didn't ask, but I assume it's 3 chapters. It's like a 3-chapter raid, and so I assume it's a thing of. If I had to guess, I'll probably guess that each chapter is probably 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
If I had to guess.
Because it's that thing, like when you talk about like, oh, we're going to go raid in Destiny or even DC Universe Online. Granted, these are just Greg experiences. I know raids have been around a long time, yada, yada, yada. You're talking about multiple hours. Like that, raid content is like a huge deal. And also like, in Destiny, it's meant to fucking have you beat your head against the wall forever before you understand what you're supposed to do. Or maybe you never do it. Like, are you expecting that kind of challenge out of it? Or are you just expecting it to be harder Ghost of Tsushima stuff?
There could be that challenge out of it. Like, I think there is a chance that each chapter ends up being like how in the I've only played one Destiny 2 raid, which is the first one, the
big fat guy with the chalice.
Yes, yeah, that guy. I know that is divided it up into like rooms where like you're doing one challenge, okay, cool, everybody did it, and there's a fight in between. Okay, next challenge, which is like those can take anywhere from 15 minutes to multiple hours, depending on where your team is at and how much you know what to do and all that stuff. And so I could see it being a thing where, a chapter takes us an hour or so, the first time, because we have to figure out what exactly we're doing, and there's all these different elements at play. I hope it's that. I'm expecting like an hour and a half like experience for the whole thing, just because I don't know if they're looking for it to be that type of thing. I don't know if they're looking for it to be a Destiny raid or their very own condensed version of, hey, this is Ghost of Tsushima, where this is the gear portion, like the co-op gear aspect of the game, but we're not out here trying to make a Destiny 2 or out here trying to make a Borderlands that lives forever and builds on top of itself and be this huge gigantic thing with all these resources. That said, if it ends up being a multiple hour thing, then cool, I'm into it. I'm in for it. That sounds awesome.
Okay.
But yeah, looking forward to it. Speaking of Ghost of Tsushima, though, Sucker Punch could be hiring for Ghost of Tsushima 2. This is from Alessandro Barbosa at GameSpot. Ghost of Tsushima developer Sucker Punch hasn't yet announced what it's working on next, but a new job listing suggests that the studio might stick with its new IP for the foreseeable future. The job listing for a narrative writer makes 2 mentions of feudal Japan, requesting that applicants have an interest in the history of the era and have a desire to write stories for it. This suggests that Sucker Punch is either working on additional content for its PlayStation exclusive or are preparing to start work on a sequel. So there you go.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Is this news?
No, I mean, not really. Like, I think this is a thing that shouldn't shock anybody that they are potentially working on Ghost of Tsushima 2. I think this is more so leaning on the Ghost of Tsushima 2 side than the additional content side, because the impression I got from the interview that everybody just listened to, I got the impression that they're not necessarily looking to make Legends a games as a service. The raid very much seems to be the culmination and the finale to it, which...
How do you feel about that?
That saddens me a little bit, but I get it. Like, I think that explains the release structure, because I've mentioned before that, man, why didn't they release this as its own executable or its own free-to-play thing with microtransactions or this or that? And I think that is probably the biggest explanation. You know, both the fact that you need Ghost of Tsushima proper to play Legends because they're working within like the same infrastructure, same assets, mechanics, all that stuff. But then also the fact that this isn't going to be a growing thing. I think if you have it as a one and done thing in Legends, or not even a one and done thing, like a repeatable thing, right? Like you put out this content, but then let people play it for as long as they want to. I think that makes the most sense if you're going to package it in with Ghost of Tsushima proper. And so even though it saddens me a little bit, I respect it. I get it. And I expect to see more of it in Ghost of Tsushima 2 anyway. And so cool. I'm down for it.
Yeah, that's what you think they'd build off of. Keep maybe flesh it out there, do more with it.
Yeah, like I expect Ghost of Tsushima to put out Ghost of Tsushima Legends 2.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe then they turn it more into a service thing. Maybe they realize that there's more potential there and spin it out into its own thing. Who knows? But I definitely do not think this is the end of Ghost of Tsushima Legends.
Yeah, it seems like, I know how much you love it, and the people who, and I was really impressed with what I played of it. I think in a different year, different time of year right now, maybe I'd be more into it than I'd come back to it. Because again, I really enjoyed playing with you and streaming that, that's up on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. But yeah, it's interesting that they did this way. And hey, here's what it is. Here's this, package of story levels. Here's this raid, and now we're moving on to what you would assume Ghost of Tsushima 2. Which again, I'm glad they are. We adored Ghost of Tsushima here. So to see what they do on PlayStation 5 with that.
Does part of you wish that this was Infamous? Like, are you finding that this is Ghost of Tsushima 2, or would you rather them work on something else?
No. I'm totally fine that it's Ghost of Tsushima 2. I like that they are moving on. You know what I mean? I think that, what I've talked about repeatedly is that I liked how, granted, even this gets a little foggy with Uncharted 4, obviously, but like, Naughty Dog kind of felt like PS3 was defined by Uncharted, and then Last of Us came at the end, bridging it, Last of Us Part 2, PS4. Like, I like seeing studios be able to evolve and change. And I would say when you look at PS3 to PS4 Sucker Punch, that even Infamous Second Son, which don't get me wrong, isn't a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, was overstaying the welcome. Like even there, I kind of wish that they had done something new there. Now, granted, I'm not saying go back and change time or do anything like that. Like, all the decisions got us to where we are now, and we're in a great spot. But it is that thing of like, the Cole story was so good, and the Cole story ended, and then to try to come out with Second Son, it was cool to see their Seattle. It was cool to see, the tech they had, but Ghost of Tsushima is such a better game than Second Son was. So no, I'd prefer them to move on with that. And with Infamous, it's like, we're in such a different spot now than we were then, where I think, you look back at when Infamous launched on PlayStation 3, and I was so excited to have a superhero game that wasn't just some garbage tie-in, that was actually going to be something that was like, people cared about, and it was cool to see them start something. And I think the only way to do that now would be to go through and reboot Infamous and do something different. And even then, it's like, is that really the best idea? Like, I'd rather see people go off and make their own stuff right now. Or, you know, what we're seeing with Insomniac, right? Of like, cool, let's partner you up with Marvel Games. Let's get, you know, now that we're to a point where the people who are IP holders on superhero games understand, hey, we could make money off of these if they're good. Let's go work with talented studios and make that stuff.
Yeah. And I will say Ghost of Tsushima at this point is my favorite Sucker Punch game, with the exception of maybe Rocket Robot on Wheels. But I'll go ahead and say that Ghost of Tsushima is better than Rocket Robot on Wheels. I can't wait to see the future of this thing. Like, Legends is the thing that I think has brought Ghost of Tsushima up for me from being this game that I think Ghost of Tsushima I think is really cool and really awesome, and I really like it. Legends has turned it into a thing where I'm like, I can't wait for what's next. I think this thing is I can't believe how quality both the single player and multiplayer experiences in this one game are, like in the level that it is, and the fact that they're both working off of these same mechanics. Like, I think is very impressive. And so
Ghost of Tsushima, I agree with you, is Sucker Punch's best game. And, you know, on some levels that pains me because I love Infamous so much, especially Infamous 1. I loved Infamous 2, but I loved Infamous 1 so much. But it is, I think it's similar to the conversation we just had today on in review for Batman Begins, where no matter what you think of the Batman movies that came before it, it's inarguable that this is like the better movie, right? And it's the same thing with Ghost, where it's like, this game is on such a different level, to the point of like, I think it's interesting. I don't know if I don't know how it works for you, but when we played through it, I remember being like, oh man, yeah, this is a gamer's game. This is a game. You know what I mean? Like, we just came off Last of Us Part 2, and obviously that was such a different experience, different goals, I think, than what Ghost was. But now when I sit there and I start thinking about game of the year and stuff, like, I'm surprised how high I put Ghost in my list often. Where it is that thing of like, oh man, like, yeah, that was such a great experience, let alone photo mode, let alone colors, let alone acting, let alone what they achieved with it.
Yeah. Still on the topic of, I guess I was gonna say on the topic of PlayStation, everything.
Hold on 1 second. You and Kevin, fill time. Portillo's having a nightmare. I'm gonna wake him up.
All right, Kevin, you played. I'm imagining that you're really sad that you're not gonna be able to use that graphic as much.
No, we just decided we're gonna still be using it.
Well, no. Right now I'm deciding we're getting rid of it because you're overusing it. I'm making a decree, and I'm also taking away a gold star.
You can't do that. You're not able to do that.
I don't like that. I can't do that.
Yeah, I know. That's the point of it. You get all worked up, but it stays there. You know what I mean? There it is.
How many gold stars are you at, by the way?
22. Really, it should be 23 because you accidentally gave me an extra one. But no, I very much specified. I specified I am giving you the one that Tim gave you before the show started. No, that was today. I meant like a couple last week. At one point last week, someone gave me a star, and then Tim was like, "I'm gonna give you a star," and it was like, "Well, that's 2 stars."
Greg called in.
And right, we were like, right, yes, that's it.
And we were like, you can't do that, but Tim will give you his star.
Yeah, but like Greg can give me his star as a call-in, and Tim gave me a star. So that's 2 stars. Thank you very much.
Destruction All Stars. God damn it.
Sorry, it was an accident.
Destruction All Stars is delayed and is being turned into a PlayStation Plus game. This is from the PlayStation blog, where they write, "Hi everyone, we want to share a quick update on our plans for Destruction All Stars. We decided to move the game's release from November 2020 to February 2021, where it'll be included for 2 months in PlayStation Plus at no additional cost."
2 months.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is incredibly great news for Destruction All Stars, a game that I don't think anybody would have given the time of day for $70 at the launch of the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the biggest thing here is that the trade-off here, right? Losing one launch title that it was probably like the least anticipated launch title, trading that for, okay, cool, a free PS Plus game that seems to be in the vein of Rocket League, seems to be in the vein of a Twisted Metal-ish sort of thing. Seems awesome. It's giving me a reason to try it out. I think it's giving so many people a reason to try it out, especially as one of the first PS Plus games on the PlayStation 5. Like, that's going to allow it to kind of, it's setting it up for the most success as possible, right? And it might be able to have a legacy because of that. And so, shout out to that move.
You're right on the money about it. Where I think even if you, I think it's short-sighted this year, and it's a conversation we've had on many a show. But you can rope Xbox in here. Short-sighted to look at this November and talk about just the launch lineup, because we're in such a different spot, right? Of even if you're not talking about games exclusive to your PlayStation 5, the idea is that you're buying your PlayStation 5 and it becomes your main console, which means that the launch lineup for all intents and purposes includes what literally includes Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but it also includes Cyberpunk, and it also includes you name any other third-party stuff in your backlog, the games you're already playing. Like, it is so crowded on what you're going to be playing on your system this fall that, yeah, you toss in something for $70 that, again, when we look at it, looks colorful and could be a lot of fun, but how much time are you going to invest in that between Cyberpunk, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, Miles, Demon's Soul? Like, you jump into the actual stuff that's going on, like, it's just going to get drowned out and it'll never find a player audience, and then it's gone, right? So to delay this into the spring, where I always talk about it, right? People come out of Christmas and New Year's and they're like, I don't want to look backwards anymore. I want to look forwards. What can we play? You put it into February and you give it away for free for 2 months. Like, that's its best chance at finding an audience and having some success in it.
I agree. We got a question here from Lucid Dream, who writes
Lucid Dream.
Destruction All Stars is now debuting on PS Plus. When do you think we'll start seeing PS5 games regularly offered on PS Plus?
That's a great question.
That's a very good question, because I would have assumed off the bat, but I guess that's out. I guess that you can't do that, can you?
You say you can't do that, but they just took one of their launch games, T-minus 2 weeks or whatever, to launch and kicked it into February and put it there. Like, you still could, but what would you do? And then it's like,
that is the question.
And well, here's the thing.
Because, like, what would you make a December PS Plus game for PS5?
See that? Yeah, that's the tough thing of it. Yeah. But, like, well,
the beauty of it is because of backwards compatibility.
I was gonna say,
you can just offer PS4 games. Which, I mean, back to the question of when do you think we see PS5 games regularly offered? Maybe February. Like, I think that it would require PlayStation to start partnering with, I imagine, indies and start like.
Sure.
Man, it's tough because it's not a back catalog. Greg, when the PS4 first came out, because I didn't have a PS4 at launch, so I don't even know how they went about it. But, like, what were the PS Plus games? Because was it Resogun a PS Plus game at launch? Or was that later?
Was it? I thought it was later. First PlayStation.
Maybe it was later.
First PS4, PlayStation Plus games. That's a great question of when did it fucking start? Here we go. Well, is this gonna do it by date? Yeah, here we go. Okay, so here we go. 2000. Oh man, I'm on a fandom wiki, so that's what I'm going off of here. Here we go again. What's my weakness? Blessing, I was looking for you there. What's my weakness?
I don't know this reference. Kryptonite?
No, it was Men. This is a Salt and Pepper song. God damn it.
No.
Well, I don't know if this counts.
Come on, Bless.
This lists.
I think
well, no, Resogun was. It looks like. Well, here's the thing: is I don't know. This is such a weird thing. Is if it's announcing.
So I'm on PlayStation Blog right now.
Mm-hmm.
An article posted November 28th, 2013, and the PS Plus games then, which of course, this is for December, the December after the PS3 came out. PS Plus games are Grid.
Wait, December after the PS3 or December after
PS4? PS4.
Okay.
PS4. December after the PS4 came out, the PS Plus games were Grid 2 for PS3, Borderlands 2 for PS3, Dyad for PS3, Sonic All-Stars Racing Transform for PS Vita, and Urban Trial Freestyle for PS Vita. So no PS4 games there. So I'm now Googling January 2014.
Smart. God, when did PlayStation Plus add PS4? I hate trying to figure out the right question.
Oh, here we go. January after the PS4 released, Don't Starve was a PS Plus game for PS4. And I think that was the one. That was it for PS4. And then we got 3 PS3 games and then 2 PS Vita games.
It's the normal thing we talk about all the time. Where, hold on.
I'm looking up February.
PlayStation Plus in December. This is November 13th, 2013. This has Resogun Guacamelee Grid 2.
When was that?
November 13th, 2013.
Okay, so Resogun was the PS4 launch PS Plus.
Well, the month after, right? Because it's talking about December.
Wait, December? I thought I just read December.
I thought you did too, but then I'm telling you what I'm reading over here.
What did I read?
So on November 13th, 2013, which is 2 days before the North American release of the PlayStation 4, Chris Howe from the PlayStation Store and community, whatever the fuck, said, yeah, Resogun. This is, first up, we were pleased. Maybe Resogun was? I'm going to read this in full. For something nobody cares about, but we need to figure out. Hi, everyone. It's a very exciting time here at PlayStation as we edge ever closer to the launch of the PlayStation 4. As promised, PlayStation Plus will be with you from day one, ushering you into the next generation of console gaming with 2 incredible launch titles and access to immersive online entertainment. There we go. So first up, it was Resogun and Contrast. You got 2 PlayStation 4 games for PlayStation Plus at launch.
Gotcha. And then December, you got none. January, you got 1. And February, I'm looking here, you get 1 with Outlast.
Gotcha. It's the weird.
No, that's a really good question.
It's the weird business of PlayStation right now and PlayStation Plus. And again, not the communication problem. And again, for the record, this can change any day. But obviously, we could be talking about this now and tomorrow on the play, or we could talk about this on Monday and on Tuesday. The PlayStation blog can easily be like, guess what? Here's how we're doing PlayStation. But like, is PlayStation Plus going to do away with worrying about if it's a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 game and just say you're getting these games? Because they are free and they work on your system. So what are we really that hung up by generations? And then what's interesting about this, right? Destruction All-Stars is they're talking about it being for 2 months, right? So is that how you pivot to support this? Where it's like, you're still getting your PlayStation 4 game. You're getting your PlayStation games on PlayStation Plus. And I guess that's what I'm getting hung up on is that right now we're recording on October 26th, 20-year anniversary of the PlayStation 2. I'm old. And we're talking about PlayStation Plus, which should be announced in the next few days, right? As they tease what's going to happen in November. And so I wonder if that'll be the first time they start talking about like, hey, the PlayStation Plus lineup is this. And that includes, obviously, what you can play on PlayStation 5. And then, it's a bigger deal, I guess, when it's a PlayStation 5 game, or maybe you get it for longer like you're getting with Destruction All-Stars. But yeah, will there be a PlayStation 5 game at launch? Launch lineups
I don't think so.
Smaller by the day now.
there couldn't be a PS5 game, like PS Plus game at launch.
Dude, I'm not saying...
Given what PS5 games there are. Like, unless Godfall out of nowhere is like...
Well, I mean, like, could you... I'm not putting it past them. Well, I guess there's a bunch of collector's editions and stuff, but you could give a very basic version, right? Assassin's Creed, no.
I think that'd be
Astro's
awesome.
already play. Bugsnax, Demon Souls, no. Destiny, no. Well, Destiny, you could do some kind of weird. You could do some kind of Destiny like tie-in thing, like early base Destiny 2 to get you into Beyond Light.
The Pathless.
DMC, no. Dirt 5, no. Fortnite, come on. Maybe I guess they already do right now. Aren't they running a PlayStation Plus like Fortnite pack you can get for free?
I feel like they always are.
For Honor, Godfall. I could see them throwing bucks around on that because that's in a similar situation, I feel, to Destruction All-Stars. Where it's like, all right, like it looks like cool.
Destruction All-Stars, though, PlayStation first-party game. Godfall is Gearbox, and
totally.
I feel like they're way less likely to want to give that up.
Print that paper if you want to do it, right?
Yeah.
Just Dance, no. Maneater, maybe.
I guess that wouldn't be that bad.
Spider-Man, already, no. NBA, no. Observer, I can see that maybe. Yeah, it's like you said, all the indies, I guess. But again, it's like, I guess it doesn't matter. I was going to say, isn't it late in the game like we're talking about? But again, they just did this for Destruction All-Stars, pushed out a launch lineup. And then again, it's sold out already. Like another thing, it's sold out already. Do they need to make it more enticing? Do they need to make these offers more enticing?
Yeah. And I think, and I know I'm assuming a lot here for players and gamers, right? I think people would understand that there aren't PS5 games at the launch
100%.
of the system, right? Like, what are you going to offer? And I think Destruction All-Stars, in fact, being a February PS Plus game is like a really cool thing. Like, that's a really good deal. And so with that being the case, like, my question is more so what happens for PS4 games? Like, do PS4 games eventually get discontinued at a certain point for PS Plus free games? Or do we just see them treat them as, well, no, these games work on your PS5, and so we're not specifying PS5 versions or PS4 versions. You are just getting free games. Like that's how we're going about this.
I would think that's more likely. I think you see as they, the walled garden kind of falls down and as they sunset everything else, right? Like if it's just PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 you're taking care of, then yeah, do you need to say what it is? I think it's you're getting PlayStation 4 games, but yeah, if they're still doing, usually we're talking about indies here, right? Of like, all right, cool, it's on PlayStation 4, it's also on PlayStation 5. Like if it's just you're getting the free PlayStation 5 version, if there's even a difference, you could do that. And then it's a big deal when a PlayStation 5 native game comes, and it's more akin to what we're doing here. Because keep in mind, like PlayStation at the end of the month announces what's coming to PlayStation Plus the next month. And so to be this far out in Destruction All-Stars, granted, you have to because it's already been pre-orderable. It's a launch title. Things are changing here. But it's also the thing of, hey, this is a special event and we're doing it for 2 months. Right now, they're showing that, PlayStation 5 games on PlayStation Plus are a premium experience. Maybe that's how they get around it.
I can see it. There's also, we should also shout out the PlayStation Plus collection, which I assume that's, have they said that that's launch? I assume that's launch.
That's launch, yeah.
Yeah, and like if that with launch, I feel like presents way less reason to feel the need to put a PS5 game into PS Plus in the first few months, like especially if you have that.
It was I think we're so heads down on it, both, I mean, you and me, but also like the listener, the viewer, right, of what's going on and all the stuff and yada yada yada. I had a friend hit me up yesterday who was like, hey, my mom wants to pre-order the PlayStation 5 for her grandkid, and this is a huge step. And like, she's like, he hasn't had a new system since the Xbox 360. And I was like, okay, cool. Here's what you do: get a PS5, get Miles Morales Ultimate Edition, so you get both Spider-Mans. And then I was like, get PlayStation Plus. And then I laid out what the PlayStation Plus collection was. I was like, fuck. Yeah. What a good deal this is. Holy shit. If you didn't play anything last year, you're walking into like more than 15 games, all these amazing bangers that you're going to play on this system. Holy shit.
One of those games, I think, is The Last of Us Remastered.
It is. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And speaking of Last of Us Remastered, that game has gotten an update. This is Vikki Blake at Games Radar. The latest patch applied to The Last of Us Remastered has had a significant impact on how long the game takes to load. Before the patch was rolled out, it could take over a minute for The Last of Us Remastered to load in for the first time. Now, however, it seems the game will load in less than 14 seconds. Again, cool. You assume that this is because they're working on it for or making sure it works or optimize all that stuff for PS5. And in the process of that, they're probably like, oh, we can make this work way better on PS4. Totally. That's my huge assumption. Maybe there's something.
Mine too. Yeah, that it's something they did in terms of getting ready for this PlayStation Plus collection, figuring these other things out. Like, yeah, I would assume that's what it is too. And I know Tim called it out earlier as like, man, if it's that fast on a PS4, I can't wait to see it on PlayStation 5 and what all these things look like and what a native PlayStation 5 experience outside of the one level of Astrobot we're allowed to talk about looks like.
Greg, Travis Scott, the rapper, has joined PlayStation. And I guess not even just the rapper, the creative is what I'm going to call him, because Travis Scott is a man of many talents. Okay. This is from the PlayStation blog where they write, today we're excited to announce Travis Scott has joined the PlayStation family as a strategic creative partner. Weird Travis is a huge PlayStation fan, so we started a conversation with him that led to this unique partnership. Through our mutual passion for gaming and creativity, we plan on collaborating with Travis and his Cactus Jack brand to produce innovative projects that we hope will delight our collective fans. Cool. Another like.
Do you know a lot about him?
I mean, I know the same amount as the average rap fan. Like, I like his music. I think he's a very talented artist. He likes using a lot of auto-tune, and he sounds great with it. He put out the song Sicko Mode, and that song was a hit. One of my favorite songs that year. That album actually was pretty good too. I want to say it was called Astro World. I'm going to look this up now.
Okay.
Because Astro World sounds like
is there any connection to Cactus Jack Records and Mick Foley's Cactus Jack, the WWE wrestler? Also ECW wrestler. I'm aware he's had many different things.
Absolutely not. I don't think so. I mean, maybe there is that I'm just not aware of. Like, I'm a fan. I'm not the biggest fan. And so I could not tell you if there, I don't even know where Cactus Jack even came from, like where the term came from. I know that's like his thing.
The first time I heard about this Travis Scott fella is when he had the special McDonald's order. And I thought that was just some joke.
That was like 2 weeks ago.
Yes, I know. I thought that was some joke the kids were doing. That there was no Travis Scott. That was a joke. You went to McDonald's to annoy people, and you said, "Give me the Travis Scott," and then they got mad at you.
How's that possible? You haven't. Wait, you play Fortnite? He's done concerts in Fortnite. He was like the big giant guy.
I didn't go to him. I didn't go to him.
Have you not heard?
You know how it is. You hear? I know. I've never. Well, I mean, maybe I've heard Sicko Mode.
You've definitely heard Sicko Mode.
I'm in the same boat.
What?
And I was just like, wait. Socko or what's the
Mr. Socko? Oh my god!
The guy with Mr. Socko is doing this, or
I'm gonna listen to Sicko Mode here on Spotify. Okay. I'm just gonna jump to the middle of it.
Play it loud so I can kind of hear it on your headphones.
What? You've not heard?
I'm skipping around in it.
Can you play it loud so I can hear it?
The very beginning is very iconic.
But it's got like.
Greg, play it louder so I can hear it.
Yeah. You've not heard that before?
No.
Should he have?
Yeah, where would I have heard this?
It was the biggest song of like 2018.
Did this guy get one of the Kardashians pregnant?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes?
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I have heard of him.
I'm not a big Kardashian fan, so I'm not sure which.
According to this, he was partner. I'm on Wikipedia.
It's the rich Kardashian,
Kylie Jenner.
Right?
Kylie Jenner.
Yeah.
2017 to 2019.
Well, I mean, this one's the one that's the most richest, right?
Wait, is there one that's more rich than Kim?
Yeah, well, she does the makeup, right?
Wait, was Kylie the one where like they're making the big? They're making somebody who's listening is a big Kardashian fan is going crazy right now. Kylie was the one that like they were like, oh yeah, the self-made billionaire.
Yes. I'm looking up Kylie Jenner's net worth. I'm seeing 901 billion, kind of big.
Whoa. Wait, how much is Kim? I want to know Kim Kardashian's net worth.
I'm on it.
I like this segment. This is a great segment of the show.
This can't be right. She's estimated to be worth 900 million, and then somewhere in the bottom it says, earliest month outlets estimated her net worth to just under 50 million.
That can't be.
So
right.
Nobody knows.
Maybe she keeps it hidden. I guess that makes sense.
That she keeps it hidden, or
no? That Kylie is the most
because of all the makeup.
Ballin'. Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah, yep.
It's very fascinating.
Fascinating.
Okay, so my tweet I'm putting out is Travis Scott's Cactus Jack related to Mick Foley's Cactus Jack? Parentheses. This is a serious question. That's
I'm gonna search Cactus Jack, and if it's not Mick Foley.
See, I have more questions about the Mick Foley Cactus Jack thing because I know Mick Foley is Mankind. Right.
He's also Dude Love. The three
Dude
faces
Love.
of Foley.
And I know the sock, and he puts the sock in people's mouth.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Cactus Jack thing is.
It was his before he came to WWE. He wrestled as Cactus Jack, and he was this hardcore superstar around the world. I mean, WWE calls it hardcore. You know, he was at ECW doing the extreme shit. Him and Terry Funk were in Japan doing barbed wire ring and exploding matches and shit, where he's bleeding, tearing, all bloody and shit, and all this crazy ass crap. He wrestled at WCW as Cactus Jack too, but when he came to WWF at the time, Vince was like, "You need a new character," and so they made Mankind, but his persona as Cactus Jack was so large that eventually it ended with him, being multiple different things and kind of having this split personality thing that they looped into a lot of gimmicks. I'm refreshing the tweet here to see what I got his responses. Jeffy Grub says, "Wow, they don't all know each other, Greg. You're about to get canceled." That's a pretty funny response. And Popper Matt says no. He's saying that to me, according to Jeffy Grub, to me, all Cactus Jacks look alike.
Oh no. Greg, when you Google image search Cactus Jack, it is only Travis. There is no Mick in here.
That's not true.
What do you mean that's not true? Look,
I'm Google image searching right now,
but I'm showing you.
Fuck.
Yeah, no, this guy's dominated the Cactus Jack branding. There's subset headings.
If you just said the words Cactus Jack to me, I'm going to Travis Scott more so than Mick Foley.
And it seems like so is the entirety of the world.
That I want you to know is one of those things that is like that's one of those things that rocks you to the foundation.
Yeah.
That's something I think is so that there's just one Cactus Jack. You know what I mean? And like I think everybody knows him.
Well, that looks like fun.
I can't believe that the McDonald's thing was real.
Wait, are you serious?
Wait, I mean, what thing? Like the
Dude, did you not hear on the show today that you can get this chicken nugget?
No. I know all the stuff from today. I'm saying like,
God, that
again, when
delicious.
I had heard about it years ago, because I'd seen, or not years ago, months ago, weeks ago, whatever.
Weeks.
When Jen was watching a TikTok and there was a guy who just rolled up to the McDonald's and said, "You know what I want," and the guy was like, "All right."
Yeah,
and
you know why I'm here.
I didn't know. I didn't realize that. I thought it was just like he was
and
there.
Then they play sicko mode at max volume.
I literally thought that it was that guy went to McDonald's so much at that time that drive-through worker knew what he wanted. Like, I didn't realize that this Travis Scott meal was so crazy.
Do you get the action figure? Is that part of it?
No, I think that's just like a cool advertisement. Apparently, the Cactus Jack meal is pretty good.
It looks really good.
Yeah. There have been multiple times where I pulled up to a McDonald's with the purpose of ordering the Travis Scott meal, but I chicken out every time because I can't put myself through the.
If they don't know, you'd freak out. Next time,
even that.
Next time, pick me up.
I just feel,
and I'll order it for us.
I don't want to annoy these people because I feel like
it's a thing.
Yeah, but like, do they like it though? I feel like if I go to a McDonald's and try to get the Travis Scott burger, the people working at McDonald's are like, "Oh, here we go, this fucking guy. Now we gotta bust out the special whatever the fuck to make this thing."
I think they just put like mustard instead of mayonnaise.
I don't even know what's special about it. I think it's just like a specific type of burger. Like I think it is like we put out mustard instead of mayonnaise.
It's got barbecue sauce, dipping sauce for the fries.
Yeah, the Travis Scott meal includes the quarter pounder with cheese, fries, and barbecue sauce to dip and a Sprite.
It also has bacon. I don't know if that's a normal thing that the quarter pounder has. I've always said I only shop the dollar menu, so
yeah, I know.
You know what I found out the other day? The McDouble, like my go-to thing, which was on the dollar menu at one point, is like $3.50 or something ridiculous.
Dude, yes. So I used to growing up. I used to get the McDouble. I used to get 2 McDoubles and a small fry.
That was like my high school.
Yep. My high school college meal. 2 McDoubles and a small fry because that thing was on the dollar menu and I could get by with that and it was great.
That did the job.
I cannot believe how much they've raised the price on the McDouble. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Inflation, man.
Where is the dollar menu? Is there even a dollar menu anymore?
I don't think so. I'll look it up.
Is it now just the value menu? Like, what the fuck? The McDouble is such a great deal.
I think they got rid of the dollar menu.
PS5 Day 1 streaming apps have been revealed. You're getting Apple TV Plus, Disney Plus, Netflix, Spotify, Twitch, and YouTube, with additional streaming apps coming later, including Amazon Prime Video, MyCanal, Hulu, Peacock, and more.
Ew.
Are you saying that? Are you saying that at MyCanal?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
It not sound gross.
I thought the same thing. It's gross.
Cool.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Great. I as I said we talked about this in Games Daily a couple of days ago, and it was the thing of like when I got the TV, Tim told me only use the TV apps that came with it because they were better for my TV than that.
Yep.
So I've only been using HBO Max on PS5 because it's the only way there, and then they don't even fucking have HBO Max anymore.
Oh no, that sucks.
I mean, they will eventually, I assume. But
wait, you never know.
I'm surprised Hulu is coming later. That feels like a misstep.
I mean, Amazon Prime coming later is crazy. I think I use Amazon Prime too. It's what you expect, though. You know, I'm as I said before, I'm honestly surprised they have this much functionality because even though it sounds simple, I know it's not simple, and I know that they're prioritizing a bunch of other different stuff in the PlayStation 5, right, to get it running and going. So apps usually are the things that fall by the wayside. All I want you to do, PlayStation 5, is get Shudder. Thank you.
Wait, what is Shudder?
That's the horror.
It's a horror. Yeah. Bless.
Time for what's up?
I got you it's the $1, $2, $3 menu.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah, and like I don't know if it's broken or what, but like
the dollar menu is now the multi-dollar menu.
It's now the $1, $2, $3 menu. Fuck out of here.
How much?
That's
is
just a menu.
chicken?
That's just a menu.
That's just a menu.
You can't go up the $1, $2, $3 menu. Like you might as well just go up to 15 at that point. Like that doesn't make any sense. I don't like it. It's time for some PlayStation picks. Of course, this is where we highlight a few of the cool looking games coming to PSN this week. Starting off with the big hitters, we got The Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel 4. That's coming to PS4 in North America on Tuesday, October 27th. We also got Watch Dogs Legion coming to PS4 Thursday, October 29th, and then Auto Chess is coming to PS4 on Saturday, October 31st. There is one that I missed from last week that I want to bring up. Usually, like I pick and choose when it comes to the PlayStation picks. And I think last week I was just like, well, here's this Transformers game because I couldn't find anything else.
Sure.
Somebody brought this to my attention, and usually I'd be like, well, it's not supposed to be every game. That said, this game looks really cool. It's a game called Superland. This came out on PS4 on October 22nd. Superland is a first-person Metroidvania puzzle game. The main sources of inspiration are Zelda, Metroid, and Portal. Superland assumes that you are intelligent and lets you play independently. The story is minimal, gives you an overarching goal to pursue, and then sets you free. Despite child-friendly visuals, the game targets experienced players. We're looking at it right now if you're watching the video version. And watching the trailer, I was like, oh snap, this actually looks really fun, weird, quirky, but fantastic. Like, I'm all about this. I like the idea that it is this combination of Metroidvania, Zelda, and Portal. I like all those things. And yeah, I believe it's also, I know this is a PlayStation podcast. I believe it's also on Xbox Game Pass if you want to play it there.
You don't have to say that.
So, I just had to let people know. But yeah, I feel ashamed for saying it, but
yeah, you should.
I feel like it's worth pointing out.
This looks like this could be fun for me.
The GoPro?
Check it out. Kevin, I want to check it out, but I don't know if I'm going to have the time. If you check it out, you can give the report on the show.
It's a great point, Kevin. You should check it out for us.
All right, somebody gets me a code. I'll play it.
It's on Xbox Game Pass.
Also, PlayStation pick coming out, Ghost Runner. That's coming out for PS4 on Tuesday, October 27th. Ghost Runner offers a unique single-player experience, fast-paced, violent combat, and an original setting that blends science fiction with post-apocalyptic themes. It tells the story of a world that has already ended and its inhabitants who fight to survive. It's hard for me to talk right now because I got weird mouth stuff going on. Of course, I got my wisdom teeth removed.
What the fuck does that mean?
And that it's
He's
a lot to explain.
Sharp, jagged teeth coming out of the back of his mouth again.
It's not teeth, it's bone.
Yeah, hopefully in a couple weeks it'll go away.
Do you want me to take over? I can take over.
Oh yeah, if you can take over, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, are you kidding me? Come on, man.
Yeah, appreciate
it. You gonna try to get in there and pull it out? I got some pliers.
It's a bone, Kevin. It's not teeth.
Okay, I'll pull really hard.
Basically, there's a bone sticking out of my gum that is making.
Yeah, no, I remember that. You have to work it out slowly, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember when my wisdom teeth that happened too. Ghost Runner looks dope as hell, and I heard it's reviewing pretty well on Kind of Funny Games Daily.
Yeah, it has like a 83, 86 on Metacritic and OpenCritic.
I'm about that life, but it's in the similar thing of just we're on so many reviews right now, so many different embargoes.
Yeah, this I'll make time for because I do want to try this out.
Okay. Speaking of wanting to try things out, you also have in here Carto for PlayStation 4. This is dropping tomorrow, as you listen to this, Tuesday the 27th. Kevin, watch this trailer, please. The description reads, Carto is a charming adventure game wrapped around a unique world-altering puzzle mechanic. Use this power to explore mysterious lands, help a quirky cast of characters, and guide Carto on her journey back to her family. This is one I do want to play. It's another one that I don't think I'm going to have time for soon. I'd actually gotten a code on Switch that I installed, but it's just sitting there waiting because it looks adorable. The moving of the card tiles, right, to make the map seems interesting. It looks like something I'd really, really dig. And I don't think the puzzle looks like it'll be too difficult. But you see right here is you make like a little island to be on, right? There's all these different things you can do for it.
I really like the art style. I think the art style looks really cool.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I'm excited to try it out later once we clear the November rush here. However, we'd be remiss if we didn't tell you, of course, especially me as the king of Halloween, that Halloween is in fact Friday, and there is a spooky pick of the week.
Halloween is Saturday.
Yeah, I know.
Halloween is Saturday, you faker.
Everybody, get out of here, you stupid bug. The game is out on Friday. Halloween is on Saturday. The Dark Pictures anthology Little Hope drops Friday, October 30th. The Dark Pictures anthology is a series of intense, standalone, branching cinematic horror games featuring single and multiplayer modes. 4 college students and a professor become stranded in the abandoned town of Little Hope. Trapped by an impenetrable fog, they tried desperately to escape whilst witnessing terrifying visions from the past. They must figure out the motivation of these apparitions before the evil forces at work drags each of their souls to hell. Of course, this is from Supermassive Games, the folks who did Until Dawn, also obviously Man of Medan. Until Dawn, an amazing experience. Man of Medan left me wanting. That, however, has not stopped me from being into Little Hope. I'm excited to play this. This is one that I will make time for as well, like we were talking about, right? Like, this is the perfect Halloween week game.
Is this another one of these games you can play with your phone?
No.
I don't think so.
It's not a PlayLink one. They did make the PlayLink games, but I think this one you do need the controller for. But I could be wrong.
Wasn't the first one the werewolf one?
No. You couldn't play Until Dawn. No.
Really? Huh.
With your phone? No.
I wouldn't be shocked if there's an option in there for you because they made Hidden Agenda.
It had the was it past the controller? There was the mode that was play. Hold on. Let's see. Maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe you could play it.
Because I played Hidden Agenda, which is their game that did have that.
That was a fun game.
Yeah, I really liked Hidden Agenda.
I think we got sponsored or something. We all played it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I like the phone thing.
But for whatever reason, I just thought that the first one,
Until Dawn.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't remember it having that. Because Until Dawn, you had to like walk around and control, which you could do with a phone. But I imagine they're probably like, "Nah, bump that."
No, I guess I remember right wrong. My bad. But like, dummy over here didn't know when Halloween was. You know what I mean?
Whoa, Halloween Friday, October 30th. It's like,
idiot.
All right.
Like there aren't 31 days in the month.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at Man of Medan on the PlayStation blog here. It doesn't. Yeah, no, you couldn't use your phone on this one, so I don't think you're gonna be able to use your phone on that one. But I understand. I remember being able what you're talking about with the other one. And that's it. We have a segment here called What You Playing, but it's a boring story because we've been playing redacted things we can't tell you about. Embargoes are coming left and right. Make sure you follow youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, the Gamescast podcast feed, this podcast feed, and you'll find out what we're playing because there's a bunch of stuff we're playing that we just can't talk about yet. But let me tell you, the hits are going to keep on coming on Kinda Funny. So you should strap in for all sorts of video game news, reviews, and previews sooner rather than later. Blessing. We ask people watching live on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames usually. And whenever you get the show on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, podcast services, all that jazz, to go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and give us your PlayStation name for a segment we call Trophies and Chill. Of course, this is anything under the trophy sun, but usually it's us going through and hearing your trophy stories and looking at your profile. Today, Stooge writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and says, "Hey guys, mainly for the actual King of Halloween, Greg, this one as it's trophy related. As of writing this, I sit on 9,989 trophies and 149 platinums. When I realized I had around 9,000 trophies, I decided I wanted the GTA 5 Platinum to be my 10,000th trophy. As I got closer, I realized that I could time it so it'll also be my 150th Platinum. I'd love you to do a quick teardown of my trophy list on PSN profiles. Just want to say thanks. Really, as it was listening to you and Colin on Beyond back in the day, which gave me the trophy hard on that I'm still rocking to this day. Man. Love you guys. Keep fucking that chicken. Stooge." Stooge's name is Stooge is huge. STUJ_IS_huge. Stooge is huge over on PSNprofiles.com. The place I go to look at all sorts of different profiles and my stuff like that. They're not a sponsor, just a great site. Stooge is right now 503 in terms of levels of trophies. He has hit the 10,000th trophy. He is at this is beautiful. 10,000 trophies, 150 platinums. He has done the GTA 5 platinum. It took him 5 years and 8 months.
That's really impressive.
Round of applause there. Round of applause there. That's
I want that platinum real bad.
What's your problem? Go get it.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. That's usually what stops them. That's usually what stops people from getting platinums. Behind that, though, let's run through what else he's got. A Way Out, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Outcast, Second Contact. I'm not familiar with that one. Little Acre, Concept Destruction, Omega Strike, Pez 2020, Twin Robots, Hymno twice. I like that. Peasant Night twice. Like that. So that's the thing. We're already into it. You're a trophy whore after my own heart. Just playing bad games to get your trophies, loading them up from different profiles. I love it. You love to see it. Last of Us Part 2, Far Cry 3 Classic Edition, Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World Tour, Murdered Soul Suspect. There's one. A Travis Willingham jam you don't hear about too often. Square Boy vs. Bullies, Jack and Jill DX twice. Love to see it. Days Gone. Nice. The Telltale stuff. Marvel Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed Origins. Okay. Got Detroit in there. More Assassin's Creed. You're big on the Assassin's Creed. I love that. My Name is Mayo twice. That's what you want to see. Tales from the Borderlands, Horizon Zero Dawn. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. Yeah, that's a good list. What was your first platinum down here? First platinum, Fallout 3. Took 4 months and 2 days.
Oh, I like that. That's really good.
Yeah. Followed by Mafia 2. Got Sleeping Dogs in here too. Love it. You'd love to see. Oh, the Amazing Spider-Man. Oh, there. Yeah, Blessing's got his. Now you're holding up your Vault Boy there. Your Pip-Boy. Pip-Boy. Sorry, my Pip-Boy. Is that from Spirit as well, or is that the one that came with the collector's edition?
This is from Spirit as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they have their own thing, which doesn't have any functionality in like the buttons, but like if you hold it a different way, that changes the screen.
I always liked those kind of holograms as a kid. You know, you get the holographic baseball card, you flip it around.
Really cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, the PlayStation 5 is really cool. We're going to have a lot more coverage here on, of course, Kinda Funny. You can find us at youtube.com/kindafunnygames, all sorts of different shows. Like I said, you can go to kindafunny.com/PS5 for all of our launch coverage. That includes right now both unboxings. The first impression of Astro, then, of course, me popping my first trophy and showing off the new trophy features that are actually in the PlayStation 5. Not all of them, and we're very limited to this one thing in Astro, but it gives you a tease of what's going on over there. Of course, this is PS I Love You XOXO. Remember that each and every week, Blessing and I come together to talk about all things nerdy in the world of PlayStation. If you like that, you can head over to patreon.com/kindafunnygames to be part of the show, get the show ad-free, or participate in the post show we're about to do. Remember, of course, usually we're live. We can't be today. If you have no bucks to toss our way, youtube.com/kindafunnygames, podcast services around the globe. No matter where you get the show, we hope you enjoy it. We hope you rate it. We hope you share it with your friends. And until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.